Okay, so yesterday I created a video which I put up on YouTube showing how to line up these widgets in a single column using Flex Grow. It worked for the widgets that I was working with. As I started seeing some feedback and started working through some other widgets, I found that the process was flawed and my thinking around how Flex Grow was actually flawed. So I've done some playing with that and just want to show you what I discovered. So if we go back to this page here, basically what I've got is a spacer widget here. And all I've done is I've set the width on that. Where are we? Under positioning, I'll set that to be 25% wide as a custom width and just set a background color on that. I've duplicated that twice and just changed the background color. And then in this column, I've set the horizontal line to space between. So I end up with three spacer widgets with some space in between. So what I misunderstood about Flex Grow is I thought Flex Grow was relating to the element it was applied to. And how it would scale proportionally to the other elements. Reading on it further and understanding it more, what Flex Grow does is it tells you how much of the white space it should take up. So if I set this one here to the blue one here to Flex Grow of 1, and these didn't have a Flex Grow on it, these two would stay the same size and push across to the right. In fact, I'll show you that. So if I select this, go to my elements, and I select the Flex Grow of 1, it should work, but because in Elementor, when you set the custom width, it also sets the max width, so I've got to unset that. So I've unset the max width. Now, what you can see here is this first one that I've applied the Flex Grow 1 and unset the max width has expanded to fill up all of the available space. The other two have just shifted to the right and they're exactly the same size. So if I go to the next one, in the list there, let me just find it. Oops. If I go to the grey one there, and I do the same, I said Flex Grow to 1 and max width, unset. So now these two expand by the same amount to fill up the free space and they leave this third one here untouched. If I change that Flex Grow to 2, this one expands a little bit more. So this is not twice as much as that. If I set it to 3, it expands a little bit more. So what it's doing is taking the, it's going to turn off flex on those so I can explain this a little bit better. What it does, it takes the amount of space that it's got between the elements, totals all that up, and the ratio of the Flex Grow on an element is how much of that space has a ratio to take up. So in this case, if I have that as 1 and that is 2, I've got 3 parts. So basically take all this white space here in between, divide it by 3, it will give 1 of those units to this and it will give 2 of those units to that. So it's different to what I was thinking. So if you've got white space between your widgets, the method that I described will work. If you don't have white space between your widgets, it will not work. What will happen is your last widget will probably just fold onto the bottom. So I'm just going to look at what I've done to resolve this here instead. So the first thing I've done is you could actually go into these. If you want 3 of these, you can work out, bring up your calculator and go, okay, so that's 25%, that's 25%. We'll just work that out, and that would be, obviously that's 50%. So it's 50%, 25 and 25. But that doesn't take into account any spacing. So if I added some margin or some spacing between these two, then this is going to wrap onto the next line. So when I calculate the widths and percentage of these, I need to take into account also the spacing, otherwise we're not going to get everything on one line. So there's a little trick to this that I've found, and what it is on the section, what I'm doing is I'm setting a breakpoint at the the desktop to tablet breakpoint. So I'm saying anything over that, I want to set the flex wrap of the first the first elemental widget wrap in the column, I want to set that to no wrap. And that's the key. And I'll show you why. If I turn that off, see I've got wrapping. So what this is going to do, I'm just going to look at that. So each of these, I'll look at the advanced and my positioning. So the first one I've got set to 30%. Second one I've got set to 44%. And this last one I've got set to 30%. So 30, 30, and 44 is 104. So it's 104% of the width that I'm allocating. So what it does is it wraps the last one around to the bottom line, or the line underneath it. So by setting this to, not the site settings, where am I? I look at my section, by telling it that I don't want that to wrap, I've now got everything on the one line and it will scale. If I look here, so at my breakpoint, I'll just go to here, it's scaling, and at my 1024, it is 1025. I've got widgets scaled proportionally, and then when I get down to below that, it goes to 100%. So that's my resolution, and the cool thing about this is you don't have to get out your calculator and work out what all these widths are, plus the margin, plus the padding. I want that a bit wider. I just go into this one. And actually, sorry, I'll go back a step. So I'm going to show you the left and right ones, which are the same. So in the positioning, I've got it set to custom and 30%. Now that's the same on both. And then on the tablet, I've got it full width, so it fills the full width on when it goes to tablet. So I've done that on both the outer units, outer widgets. On the inner one, I've set the positioning to custom 44, and I can set that to inline auto. And then what will happen now is that it will use the flex. So let's make this less. So let's grab that and make that responsive. Oh, sorry, responsive. Where am I? Positioning. Let's make that 20%. Okay. I'll make this last one 20%. Okay, and that's filling the space in the middle because it's a flex of 1. So that just automatic, by setting that to auto, setting the flex grow to 1, it fills the space between this 25% and that 25%, and it's scalable. So if we refresh here, there it is there. By scale, they're scaling proportionally. So this works. It's a little different to what I put in the previous video. I really didn't understand how this flex grow worked at that point in time. So what I'm now seeing is that flex grow gives it a ratio of how much of the space it will fill up, not the actual width of the element. Or of the container, I should say. And if you want to use flex grow on these, we've got to set the widget wrap to no wrap for that column, and then we need to set the side ones or the ones that you want smaller, we need to set that to a percentage of the width. And then we need to set the other one that you want to scale, we want to set that to a flex grow of 1 and whatever width you want. And then the width to auto. I'm rushing through this, sorry.